Welcome Wednesday out to all you on the Central Coast. This is Living the Run. Minutes after 6 bells. I am Rex Stevens, in studio, Paul Tarek, and we are Living the Run. We do every Wednesday night, guys, 6 o'clock, from 6 to 7 o'clock here on ESPN 1280, The Ticket. And Living the Run we are, Paul. We're starting off this show right now. Matt Smith on the line with us from Austin, Texas. Matt, you living the run out there in Texas?
I'm definitely living the run out here in Texas, man. It's a little rainy out today. It's been freezing cold, but it's no Minnesota right now. I am living the run, though.
It is no Minnesota, and if you didn't get that reference, folks, we are on the Burpee Challenge, Project Thrive 365. We kicked it off last week, January 1st. We are a week in. We started the Burpee Challenge. If you haven't heard about it, 100 burpees a day, 100 days in a row, trying to shoot for under 10 minutes, whole bunch of modifications. But if you haven't liked us on Facebook, like us, Project Thrive 365. Type it into the box up at the top. It will come up. And you may just very well see a video of a guy doing 100 burpees in negative 10 degrees at the top of a hill in Minnesota. Epic stuff, Matt Smith. What'd you think when you saw that the first time?
Oh, my God. I could not believe that. But we had I say that definitely set the bar for what we're doing. But we had a couple of videos yesterday that really set the tone in weirdness and just in physical feats with that cold weather burpee session. That was unreal.
Hey, let me tell you, when we talked about Project Thrive 365 and we talked about the 5 pillars of health, movement, medicine, mindset, self-maintenance, and community, I thought right off the bat, I've been going back and forth with the Olympian here with some few text messages, throwing back and forth the workouts. We're keeping ourselves accountable. Paul, what are you seeing with this? Accountability is a big deal when it comes to staying to health and fitness programs. I think it's matching in the community. I'm feeling good about getting text messages from you on a daily basis about your time, what you're doing with this. Good program.
Yeah, the day after we started, the only thing that kept me going was knowing that we had a radio show again this week, and I had to do it every single day, because if I didn't, I would never hear the end of it. I do have to get this out there, though. I am definitely not a fan, and I would never be a proponent of, if you're just getting off the couch, to pick an exercise and do it 100 times a day for time and do the same thing over and over and over again. I would not be a proponent. However, if you have some sort of background and you have some fitness, some fitness level, already pre-built in, it may not be totally terrible. But man, after I did it for 3 days, and my lats and my shoulders and my wrists were so sore. I couldn't, I dreaded going to bed at night because if I had to roll over, I couldn't do it. I could not. It was, I'm just going to stay laying on my face. Maybe I'll suffocate. I'm not totally sure, though.
You're hitting on something incredible. We'll talk about it more in the show later. But, Matt, I think this leads into something that needs to be clarified. When we're coming into this and we're talking about movement, talk about kind of some of the strategies behind Project Thrive 365, why a burpee is a good movement, but also exactly what the Olympian just said, how to keep diversity. Because the reality is you and I and others, this is not all we're doing in the day. We're adding it to the other things that we do during the day. We're keeping the balance in our movement patterns, and we're trying to move as the human was designed to do. Talk a little bit more about that concept.
Yeah, Rex, we chose the burpee because, as we talked about last week, it's just a big compound functional movement, and it's pretty intuitive for people. It's a very natural thing to be able to go down to the ground and then get off the ground and then jump in the air. I think that's a pretty basic, fundamental human movement. But at the same time, when we started this, I don't even think that we realized how cool this would turn out in the way that it's opened us up to these different avenues to really touch on a lot of different things in terms of the 5 pillars that we always talk about with Thrive 365. I think that the movement component of doing a burpee and really committing to a challenge like this of doing 100 for 100 days, that's such a grind. It's allowed us to, as Project Thrive 365, we get to start teaching, well, how are we going to make it through this process in terms of body maintenance? How are we going to make it through this process in terms of nutrition? How are we going to take care of ourselves in terms of body maintenance? it's really allowed us to touch on all these things that I think are so important. And then to build off of what you said, this isn't the only exercise that we're doing every day. We're doing a lot of stuff on top of this, and it's really important to add in complementary stuff to this to make sure that you are balanced. And we'll be putting out a lot of videos for that, making sure that people understand that we're not just doing push-ups all the time. And we'll talk about a lot of the different ways that you can start combining burpees with other things to truly create the most balanced program for yourself.
Yeah, no question. Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh no, that's all I got for you, man.
No question. And the Olympians got some of those things going. You've been throwing me some other adaptations to the workouts, Paul. These will be things that we will kind of get after real hard after the 100 days, and you're putting together some combinations that are very, very balanced.
I don't like to think of them as adaptations, as lifeboats. Life preserver, if you will.
Hey, we got to just say this before we let Matt go, because Matt can't hang with us this long tonight because, talk about a guy that's living the run. He's sitting out there in Austin, Texas. It's just one date night after another. I mean, this guy's just gotten light up. I think he added 100 dates in a row to the 100 burpees in a row, and it's 100 different dates, too, kind of like we're trying to do these burpees in different locations. Pretty good setup there.
You can't put me on blast.
Why do you got to blow him out of the water like that? He's probably he's telling his lady right now, oh, hey, listen to my show. I'm going to be on the show. It'll be great. You should listen. And here you are. Like, number 94 coming up here. Your special number's 38. Your
special 38. Yeah, today is day 8. Day 8.
I'm glad that you're telling 100 straight days of jokes, right? That's just a hilarious one, my friend. Not true.
Try to keep the humor alive, man. We'll check back in with you next week here on Living the Run. Have fun tonight.
All right, man. Hey, good talk with you guys.
All right. Good stuff from Matt Smith. Had to razz him. But, you're right on. When we start to look at some of this stuff, Paul, and I know you've already started to do it, and of course, we've been thinking about it. We're using the burpees as something to kind of just put on that edge. It's pushing the edge. It's pushing the limits a little bit. I love seeing some of the adaptations. I've already seen people saying, hey, I've improved by 2 minutes in my time, or people who started with 60 in 10 minutes. One of the goals is we're saying, hey, 10 minutes is a window. Exercise for 10 minutes, or as we say, get the blood to boil for 10 minutes. And now all of a sudden they said, man, I got 60 the first time. Now I'm up to 70. Now I'm up to 72. Making improvement, making strides, but getting that blood to boil every single day.
Well, I think that's key. It's not a recipe like you must do 100 and they must be in this time. It's you've given the window and you've given the number, and people can kind of go out there and gauge where they're at on that. So if you can't get all 100 in 10 minutes. Next time you try, you get a few more every time. Or if you can get all 100 in 10 minutes, then maybe you're trying to make a faster time. But along the way, I think you start, we're going to have 100 days of it. There's plenty of opportunity not to just look at it like a workout and just hit the start button, do it, and then get done and then walk away from it. You can gauge where you're at, where you're weak. I can already tell, like, I've lost a lot of flexibility in my hip flexors and in my low back when I'm doing the burpees, because as I start to get tired, from the push up back to jumping up, my hips aren't moving as easy. I'm feeling a little tightness down in there. So I know that I got to spend a little more time doing a little strength training and doing a little flexibility training to try to get that back, because that's going to make the burpees easier in the end anyways.
Yeah, man, you're hitting right on it. Body awareness. We talk about that all the time. How do you do things to increase your own perception so that you know when you're in, like you were just talking about, the right mechanics versus the wrong mechanics? Same thing we talk about food. How do you know when you eat food, hey, are you gaining energy from it? Or are you losing energy from it? Or you spiked all over the place? Is it helping you sleep? Is it taking away? So, man, all good stuff. I'm excited about this thing. We got a bunch of people jumping on board. If you haven't jumped on board with us, jump on board on Facebook. Send your videos in. Been some good videos out there. We've been putting up the last 5, last 10 of ours every day. We did them at Cal Poly today. Added a little broad jump. A lot of fun out there.
Speaking of loving Project Thrive 365, a blast from the past. We got Ryan Ferran. He's listening. He's loving the show right now. We miss him here on the Central Coast, but he said he tuned in expecting to hear something different. Heard Tarek pissing and moaning and figured, look at this. Good to be back to normal.
Nothing has changed, Ryan. It's the same old Olympian. Oh man! Later in the show, I tell you, I'm going to subject my wife. to
I'm
Paul
afraid,
Tarek
no way, I'm afraid of
in
your wife,
studio.
man.
Yeah.
No way.
Molly Stevens coming on the show. We're going to talk a cleanse, detox. It's a big topic. Always happens big at the beginning of the year, January. Detox programs all over the place, cleanse programs all over the place. We got one going at the Slow Wellness Center. Lectures at 6:30 to start the kickoff. A lot of people are starting the cleanse next Monday, but more of an informational meeting. And what we're kind of trying to do, Paul, and we'll talk to Molly about this, is take a cleanse and use the cleanse as something that has a chance for sustainability down the road. It's not just, hey, for the next 3 weeks, we're going to take away a whole bunch of foods, or we're just going to have you juice, and that's it for the next for the rest of your life. We're going to say, hey, how are there some things that you might be able to do in your kitchen, in the way you shop, in the way you prepare, that might get you ready to be able to keep some of these strategies going forward that we're going to teach on Thursday night, or that Molly's going to teach Thursday night, 6:30 at Slow Wellness Center.
Don't knock juicing for the rest of your life. Jack LaLanne, dude, he was a fan, man.
It was good stuff. Later on the show, we got Gabe Frank from Gardens by Gabriel, great sponsor, Living the Run. He's going to talk to us a little bit about, hey, now is the time to be putting in bare root fruit trees. We talk about this all the time, Paul, you and I, putting in more fruit trees. This is a great time to get those bare roots going, as well as when you're thinking about cleansing, one of the big things around that is increasing the fruit and vegetable content, getting high organic fruits and vegetables, and being able to get those into the ground. So if you don't have a winter crop, getting that winter crop or getting the ground prepared now for a good spring crop. Talk to Gabe from Gardens by Gabriel. Then we're going to check in with our man, Alex. Alex Klepper of the Slow Late Show coming on from 10 to midnight. He already looks better.
He looks like a new man. I was going to say that.
In 1 week, this guy, it's like the skin color's changed. You know, the tone in his expression, his face, it's looking a little bit better. We're going to get Alex on a little bit later in the show, check in on him, get him ready for that slow half marathon that comes in April.
I was going to ask, did you introduce him to HGH, or what did you give the man? Dude, he looks like a beast.
Too much on ESPN. We don't want to talk anymore about HGH. So all that and more. Molly Stevens next. We're going to talk detox, cleanse, and whether it's right for you here on Living the Run.
You're listening to Living the Run on ESPN Radio 1280 The Ticket.
Hey guys, Paul Tarek from Living the Run here. As a former Olympian, there is only one place myself and fellow athletes go when it comes to chiropractic care on the Central Coast. With 4 chiropractors in the clinic, Slow Wellness Center is the largest, most comprehensive group of docs in San Luis Obispo County. I began seeing Dr. Rex Stevens back in 2005 for spinal adjustments to help maximize my performance, minimize my injury, and allow me to compete at my best. When the difference between a win and a loss can be just a fraction of an inch, perfect alignment in all joints is essential. One of the great things about the team at Slow Wellness is no matter where I had an issue, whether it was my spine, my foot, knee, wrist, or shoulder, they were always able to help. This team, made up of Dr. Rex and Molly Stevens, Dr. Sachs, and Dr. Bandolo, is sure to help you reach your health and fitness goals too. If it's chiropractic care you need, go where I go, Slow Wellness Center. Check them out at slowwellness.com or call 543-8688.
Hey everyone, Eric Fiallo here from leftlanesports.com. Are you tired of paying full retail on your favorite outdoor and endurance brands? Well, whether you run, bike, swim, hike, climb, or surf, leftlanesports.com has got you covered. Save 50 to 70% off retail every day on brands like Under Armour, Asics, New Balance, Timex, Hurley, Patagonia, and more. Visit leftlanesports.com and sign up for a free membership. Plus, save on shipping by picking up your order at our headquarters in San Luis Obispo. leftlanesports.com. Gear you need, prices you want, service you deserve.
Hey, this is Tara Kulikoff, San Luis Obispo resident. Gardens by Gabriel is hands down my top pick for landscapers in San Luis Obispo County. Gardens by Gabriel is honest, knowledgeable, passionate, and detail-oriented. The owner, Gabriel Frank, is a true botanical zealot. He's able to add his own creative ideas while respecting my needs and working with the ecosystem that I live in. His crew is phenomenal. Their passion truly transformed my beautiful front yard. Dig them at gardensbygabriel.com.
This is Scott from Art Cyclery. This year, Art has the largest selection of kids' bikes on the Central Coast. Let us take the stress out of your holidays by offering a layaway and a convenient purchase bike storage solution, where we store the bike until Santa picks it up for the big day. Grown-ups, we have an awesome selection of bikes and accessories for you too. Come in now until December 24th and spin the wheel of deals and take up to 30% off your purchase. Huge selection, friendly staff, and low prices at Art Cyclery, 181 Suburban Road, San Luis Obispo.
We're back with Living the Run.
Welcome back to Living the Run. Good stuff. Talking blood boiling, talking burpees, talking Project Thrive 365. Hey, right now we're going to transition over. Paul, I've been waiting for this moment, and if my littlest guy wasn't up all night with the flu, Molly would have been joining us in studio rather than online right now. And I think harassment would be in order. Definitely. Little butt kicking.
I'm not harassing anybody. Great to have you on board, Mr. Stevens.
Molly Stevens joined us now for the very first time, talking detox and cleanse. Hey, Moll.
Hello. The gods were on my side this time.
The gods are on our side.
They saved me from the harassment.
Saved you from being in studio with the great Olympian. Hey, we're talking about cleansing, Molly, and there's so much of this stuff in the news. Different detox cleanses. What is detox? What are all these programs? And one of the things that seems to be out there and that people complain a little bit about is that the programs are great and they often work. People lose weight, they feel better, they get more energy, they sleep better, and so forth. But the programs aren't sustainable for a life change. Talk about what is going to happen on Thursday night that you're going to talk about that just makes the cleanse at the Slow Wellness Center and some of the education behind and the education throughout that's going to try to make this not just, hey, I'm cleansing out and I'm detoxing for 3 weeks, but that I'm actually going to make some behavioral change that is actually sustainable, doesn't take a whole bunch more of my time, a whole bunch more of my resources, money, and so forth to get started.
Yeah. I think that's a great concern for a lot of people going into it, and it's definitely, something that we strive to do is, obviously I can't change people's emotional connections to food, but what we can do is show them how well their body can perform when given the foods that bring them closer to health. And obviously, once they start to feel elimination of symptoms, sustained energy, better function, symptoms, even like people with autoimmune disorders, they start having disappearance of those disorders, that they can start to detach from some of the things that were holding them on to the junk food. A lot of research has been done on changing habits, and it does take a good 21 to 30 days for people to change habits. And part of that, we do try to focus on, why are we addicted to things that are bringing us away from health? Why are we connecting to foods that make us feel like crap every morning? Or why are we riding that roller coaster of energy all day and not sleeping through the night? So, we do focus on that during the cleanse, but it is up to people to make that commitment. And I've heard it over and over again as people go through this. They just go, I thought I was doing okay, but I didn't know how good I could be, and there's just no way I'm going back to eating the way I used to be. I mean, people who were addicted to coffee that won't touch it again, and they stay off of it for years and years and years. And that's something that's really hard to do or people don't think they can do it, and they don't realize how habitual their eating habits are.
The obvious thing, and again, talking to Molly Stevens here on Living the Run, ESPN 1280 The Ticket, Cleanse Workshop this Thursday night, 6:30 at the Slow Wellness Center. One thing that is the obvious question for so many people is am I going to lose weight? It seems to be the number one question always talked about. But maybe the better question is how much better emotional health. The times we've done this, we see so many people who talk about their relationships at work, relationships at home with their family. Talk a little bit about some of the emotional aspects that come physiologically with some of the changes that are put in through a good cleanse program.
All right. I do want to address weight loss, too, because that is important to people. And one of the things we know is that fat is a great buffering system in our body. When we start to get really toxic or really sluggish, our body gets an overload, and it can't handle all of that. So it starts to build a nice layer of fat. So, of course, this is going to start to affect people emotionally because now they're sluggish. They don't have the neurotransmitters because their body isn't absorbing nutrients as well. So they don't have the energy or the sustained performance that they want. They start getting super irritable with everyone around them. People can blame it on hormones, but it can also just be a result of bad choices, throughout the day. we often start relying on these really fast sources of sugar to keep us our energy high throughout the day. So we kind of ride this sugar roller coaster, as I mentioned previously, throughout the day. So we wake up, we need caffeine, and we're having cereal or muffins or donuts. Then we start to crash, so then we need more sugar. Then we start to crash again, then we need more sugar and caffeine by 3, 4 o'clock. Then we start to crash again. Riding that train, it can really affect us emotionally and make us highly irritable, close to threshold. Men tend to get more angry and more violent. Women tend to get more depressed and less motivated, just because of the brain chemistry. But all of that, all of those choices that we're making throughout the day. And so part of the goal of the cleanse is to show people, and it takes us, a few days to get through that initial phase where you're getting rid of that, needing that really fast source of sugar to keep your energy up. But once we get through that, you start to see that the food you choose will help you not ride that roller coaster all day long, and will help give you nice, sustained, emotional perseverance throughout the day, so that you're focused, you're clear-headed, you don't have that brain fog, you're not irritated all day long. So it's just learning how to use that as a fuel that keeps you sustained throughout the day.
Hey, Paul, this is like amazing stuff. We should have had Molly on before. Her radio voice, radio delivery, pretty solid here for a first-timer.
I had a bunch of one-liners, but I can't use any of them.
Hey, Molly, the big thing I want to ask you here. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, how much sugar have you had today, Paul?
I kind of hit one of the peaks there and zoned out.
Hey, I wanted to ask
you. You're having the foggy brain?
Yeah. I've been living on Pop-Tarts all day.
I wanted to ask you the big question. Again, Molly Stevens talking here from the Slow Wellness Center. A big cleanse talk, 6:30 this Thursday night. Come kick it off with us. Look for the videos online as well. She's going to kind of teach you some principles along the way from our own kitchen. What does a family of 4 do? But Molly, one of the things that people in their cars right now sitting at home are doing, much like Alex Klepper is doing here in studio for us, is here's a guy who's never done a cleanse. He's going
Can't wait to meet Alex.
Can't wait to meet Alex Thursday night. He's going from couch potato kind of deal to getting to be able to run a half marathon in April. We're going to slowly bring him along. But to somebody like Alex, who has never done this process before, give 1 or 2 pieces of advice for him, what he can expect, and why he can expect to be successful in this first-time process.
Oh, well, you have to get yourself mentally strong. Of course, expect success in the process. But I think one of the great things about doing it as a group is that you have so much support around you. We've got, tons of recipes coming through. So when people start to get bored, instead of them just relying on their own brain, they're like, oh, wow, someone made these amazing fish tacos the other night that looked great. I'm going to go do that. So you're constantly inspired by what other people are doing. So just having that group aspect. But in getting prepared, one thing that we've really tried to do consistently with the cleanse participants is don't go hard on the junk food right before, because then that first week is so hard on people, they want to give up right away. So it's just starting to add one thing every day that brings you closer to health, and starting to wean down off of some of those addicting foods, the sugars and the caffeine, so we aren't having pizza, donuts, tons of coffee the day before, and then hitting like a train wreck the next day when you start cleansing.
Yeah, Alex already doing that. Alex, one question you might have for Molly being a first-time guy going in, thoughts. Sometimes there's some anxieties in going into any new program, especially when you're not totally aware, and that's why we have people come to that talk so that they can be educated on it. They can walk out and not have any of their questions unanswered. Question for Molly here, going forward about
sure.
Your new endeavor out.
Yeah. Well, thank you for bringing me on this, because I am pretty excited about this. Well, that's kind of like I'm nervous about the food part. That's for sure. The whole cleanse part, but I do like the idea of what it's going to do. So I guess the one question would be is if I have been eating bad foods and whatnot, what type of kind of mental and bodily reactions am I going to be expecting the first few days of eating just, fruits and vegetables, I believe it was. So, I mean, I try to eat those as much as I can, which is very little, with my schedule and whatever. So what should I be in for this weekend?
Worst gas ever. Schedule no dates.
You know what, Paul? You are right. Some people do get gas, and that's because their enzymes are changing quite drastically in that first week, where they're used to having processed foods that are virtually enzyme deficient, and now we're loading the body with enzyme-rich foods. And so as your body transitions over, it can be a little gaseous, but the good news, Alex, is that usually it's the shortest phase of the cleanse. And if it's bad with people, we can give you some enzymes, but for the most part, that's a short phase. But the main thing that people, it kind of depends on caffeine, sugar, and medication use. So we can talk a little bit more individually, but is getting headache or feeling very sluggish in the beginning because you're going to have a little less calories, and again, getting used to not having fast bursts of sugar, every couple hours in your diet. You're going to be relying on a little different type of fuel. But if you give it time, you're going to feel a lot better on the backside. And that's
I can already see me and the come-off sugar headaches are going to be becoming good friends over the next couple of days. I can see that part coming.
That's the sign.
And there's a lot of things you can do to help with that, and we'll definitely go through that.
Again, Mal, we waited too long for you to come on the show. Thanks so much for coming on. Next time, Paul he's breathing a sigh of relief that you weren't in studio. I think the pressure was going to be too much, even for the Olympian, if you actually...
I just wanted to say thank you, Mrs. Stevens. We've had a lovely time tonight.
I sound like your grandma, my teacher.
Good stuff.
Are you joining us, Paul?
For the cleanse?
Yeah.
I highly doubt that.
Yeah, getting Paul to do the burpee challenge has been fantastic.
Working out, and the nutrition can come a little later. I'm not discounting. I totally believe you, and I know, like you talked about earlier, when you make those changes, you realize how good you feel, and you're like 4 days into eating healthy, and you're like, my God, I haven't really eaten anything today. I feel incredible. I feel totally alert, but I'm going to stick baby steps still.
It's the one of the 5 pillars that's going to be the last for Paul to address.
That was the hardest thing. I have that. Like, she talked about that addiction to like crappy foods, like that good old like home cooking greasy food. I have that. I totally do.
What if we add bacon to it for you?
Add some bacon to it. Oh, bacon tastes good. Hey, Molly, thanks so much.
Right.
Again, Thursday night, guys. Thursday night. 6:30 at the Slow Wellness Center. Molly Stevens talking cleanse talk. You're not going to want to miss this. She's revamped it pretty good. I've seen what she's doing, and it's good stuff. Some videos go along. Hey, Alex, we got to check in with you. Alex Klepper here, Slow Late Show coming on from 10 to midnight. Already, Paul and I commenting, man, you look better. Last week we made some nice transitions. We actually saw Natural Cafe on your plate.
Yeah.
We had the Rockstar. Today, I didn't see any.
I'm hiding all my good stuff.
He's hiding all his good stuff, but
have you started making changes nutritionally?
I've slowly, like you said, I'm making slow transitions, and I was making my own little experiment. Like I'm transitioning slowly and seeing how I run this week, and then when I do the full cleanse, it's like, how is this going to help? So I haven't gone full 100%, nutritious yet.
Yeah, we got him on the kind of, and again, if you're just tuning in, Alex Klepper, he's coming on with us. He's going couch potato to run that half marathon. Kind of something Samantha Pruitt has pushed off. We're going to look at it, some things for him, though, on some nutritional levels, as well as self-maintenance, some other things as well along the 5 pillars. But I tell you, you said something to me. You sent me a text I thought was real good along the lines of what we're doing with burpees is you were taking advantage of some commercial time during the playoff football games. Talk about what you were doing to just get some movement and get the blood to boil a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, just doing push-ups, doing a little bit of burpees, doing some jump jacks. I mean, that's probably one of the main things that I like to do to try to, when I don't have a lot of time, because I like to, obviously watch football games. I'm trying to do our show here and stuff. And getting that time is really hard for me. Like today, I don't know how I'm going to get my CrossFit stuff in, or not CrossFit, but cross training. And it's just when you have those little periods in the day, the 3 minutes, the 5 minutes, it's just doing something, getting up and especially if you're at home, because for me, I sweat a lot, even if I'm just running a mile, whatever. If I'm in the best shape of my life, if you're at home and you're just watching games or you're watching TV, whatever, just get up and do a few burpees, and you may start feeling it. You'll start feeling something, especially if you ate like 2 hours before, like I did. You can really start feeling the changes that are happening. So
Totally.
it's good, yeah. But,
hey, man, bang out some burpees. That's why we're doing them. You can bang them out here in the ESPN studio. I know it's small, but there's a spot for you. It'll help your show tonight. Take 10 minutes. It's just you and Bobby anyway. It doesn't matter if this place smells bad,
Exactly.
but the in studio from 10 to midnight. It's not going to affect the show. The people in their cars can't hear or can't smell you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a good time. Bang out the burpees today. Man, you look good. Keep up with that kind of first week of the warm-up training with the running. And, hey, Thursday night, man, 6:30.
Looking forward to it.
Revolution for your nutrition.
Yes.
Hey, don't forget Gardens by Gabriel next. Gabe Frank's going to talk about what we should be planting now, both from a fruit tree, but as well as getting our vegetable garden ready for the spring, as well as if you're in the market or farmers markets, what are the things that are growing now? What should we be looking for to cook at home and put on our plates? All this and much, much more right here on Living the Run.
You're listening to Living the Run on ESPN Radio 1280 The Ticket.
Puma Aquatics team offers year-round swim programming for novice, recreational, and competitive swimmers. For 16 years, Puma has developed some of the fastest swimmers on the Central Coast, as well as the nation. Puma has 3 convenient locations to choose from, providing programming for all of San Luis Obispo County. Puma offers swim assessments for new swimmers on Tuesdays and Thursdays at the SLO Kennedy Club, Atascadero Kennedy Club, and Arroyo Grande High School. For more information about Puma Aquatics, check out pumaswim.org. Join the Puma Pride and challenge yourself to reach new levels in your swimming. Puma Aquatics, where pride, passion, and persistence pay off.
Did you know that many people endure aches and pains in their feet, legs, and back, but few recognize the solution for some of the more common causes are as simple as a more supportive and comfortable insole? At Cadence Insoles, we understand the insole in your shoe provides the first line of support and comfort for your feet. Designed by physical therapists and recommended by podiatrists, Cadence insoles provide the elusive combination of orthotic support with the shock-absorbing comfort of an insole. A local business? Visit cadenceinsoles.com for more information. Cadence Insoles. Support made comfortable.
Folks, when it comes to the health of my teeth, I will not compromise, and neither should you. It's time you go where my wife and I go. Go see Dr. Ryan Ross. I get it. Not everyone loves a dentist, and heck, even a few of you out there are scared to death of these offices. Bad past experiences? Well, you ever had a bad haircut? How about a bad meal somewhere? You didn't stop getting your hair cut, and you certainly didn't stop eating, so stop ignoring your teeth. Dr. Ross's gentle approach, calming demeanor, and office full of upbeat staff put your dental fears to rest. Conveniently located in a great little house on Marsh Street downtown, Dr. Ross's office exudes the highest level of professionalism, mixed with an atmosphere much like your own home. Look, nobody's in a rush here. It's not a get 'em in, get 'em out atmosphere. Every time I'm in Dr. Ross's office, it's like I'm the only guy that matters. No distractions, just full focus on my oral health. If you're interested in the highest quality in dental care and want to walk out of the office every time with a smile, call Dr. Ryan Ross today, 541-5800.
We're back with Living the Run.
Man, awesome show thus far. If you missed any of this, check us out on Facebook.com/LivingTheRun. We'll put the podcast up, or LivingTheRun.com. Matt Smith earlier, fun time with him. He's been an anchor on this project, Project Thrive 365, getting it going with the Burpee Challenge. Molly Stevens, fantastic stuff. It's the first time Molly, jumped on with us, and she was just so calm and cool in the delivery about just some of the basics and fundamentals of where we need to get with regards to nutrition, cleansing. That cleanse workshop again at 6:30 Thursday night at the SLO Wellness Center. Loved that. And then I love our guy Alex, man. This is going to be fun. We're working with Alex for the next 3 months, getting him prepared, getting him ready. We're going to see some life-changing stuff for that guy.
I love his honesty when he said, I'm really excited, but then he stopped himself and he said, to be honest, I'm actually kind of nervous, and that's a very valid point. I mean, you're making a life change. You're going to see different results in how you just how you view the day, how you approach the day, and when you eat, you're no longer going to be eating for taste, or you're not going to be eating for because it's just what you do in the morning. There's a purpose behind it, and I think anytime you can recognize that purpose, I mean, look at me saying, "Oh, well, eating's a healthy thing," but at the same time, like when you can eat for a purpose, it becomes a lot different. You know, you're not just eating to get full; you're eating to, to sustain your body, to sustain your workout regimen.
Yeah, we've talked about that before. When you understand the why of what you're doing, it really makes for kind of an empowering deal, and it should calm his nerves. He's going to that talk is going to be great for Alex because he's going to come away educated, empowered, and ready to take this thing on. He's going to come away pretty darn good. Hey, right now, one of my favorite guests, Paul, we've had him in studio. We've had him on the phone, meets with us usually every few months to just kind of update what we should be looking at in our garden, what we should be looking at that would be fresh and growing right now in the stores, and how we can prepare our garden for the upcoming seasons ahead. Gabe from Gardens by Gabriel. Gabe, how's it going, man? Thanks for joining us.
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Hey, it's good stuff. Well, you know, right now, and Molly's talking about, she just came on and she was talking about how do we cleanse, and one of the fundamentals behind most cleanse programs out there is vegetables and fruit, getting back to kind of some of the plants,
Right.
Plant-based diet. What's fresh right now when people are hitting the farmers markets, people are going to the grocery stores? What's growing and in season right now that they should be jumping all over, bringing home and cooking up at their house?
The greens are the best this time of year. So all your brassicas, all the super nutrient stuff like kale and broccoli is excellent. It really gets sweetest in the cold. The cool weather really sweetens it up. So they're the most delicious right now as well as just healthy. So all the other stuff that's kind of hardy, like chard, cauliflower, all that stuff is at its best in the cool season. So it's happiest, so it's also going to have the best nutrient value and really kind of the tastiest. So I try and capitalize on those at this point.
Hey, on the Central Coast, it's a great time for planting. It seems like a lot of times year-round we don't have those crazy seasons. But right now, specifically, great time for planting what out there?
So specifically, it's bare root trees are huge right now. So it's a big planning point in kind of planning your future nutrition. So they grow these trees in the field. They dig them, so they're really affordable to buy, and they're pretty much easy to dig in when they're dormant. So there's huge variety now. That's the big plus right here, is you can get all those neat varieties that are kind of selected for home gardeners just for taste, not the varieties that are, developed for production or keeping on a truck or that sort of thing. These are just the varieties that are like best for, pure eating quality. So you can get really great varieties that are adapted to the Central Coast as well. So all the stone fruit, apples, plums, and I think some of the neat stuff people don't think about growing are even some nuts, like walnuts and almonds you can do well. And some of the berries, all the antioxidant stuff is really great. So blueberries, strawberries, blackberries, really easy to grow, and you can get those bare root now too.
Hey, Gabe, I had a question about that. I'm glad you brought up blackberries, actually. If you go out there and look, there's tons of different varieties of blackberries, and a lot of people tout these thornless, seedless blackberries. But we talk a lot here, about GMOs and foods that are, genetically modified so that they may be a little more convenient. But what do we want to do to look out for those? Is there a certain one we should be getting or a certain one we should be staying away from?
They're all pretty good. Yeah, there's not any, cultivars that are genetically modified. So they're all good. They're just more, hybridized for ease, like thornless ability, easier picking ability. Some they just breed for super juiciness or rich taste or kind of different attributes. So I'd say there's nothing to steer away from. It's more, do you want a golden raspberry or, a pink blueberry? Or they're always trying to put something unique on the shelves. So they're just offering different varieties to keep people interested. But they're all really healthy, and they're going to be the best when you grow them, organically and pick them off the vine.
Hey, speaking of that, talking again to Gabe Frank from Gardens by Gabriel. Check him out at gardensbygabriel.com. Hey, how should we be preparing? So, I'm the average guy who's got no garden going right now. I don't have any greens in my backyard, but I'd like to get going. I want to get going for the spring. When's my time to be planting for the spring, and what should I be being prepared for to plant for the spring?
Right. We're in a little bit of the interim period, so if you plant it in the fall, you're kind of you're harvesting that downy now of all those good greens, but it's a little too early to plant. I would say for prep, it might be a good idea to build some raised boxes. That could be a project. And kind of prep for growing stuff for the spring. You can start sowing seed as early as March for stuff like sweet peas, things that come up early, lettuces. But I wouldn't. It's a little too early to, I guess, start crops now. But you could kind of prep an area. It's probably still too early to even start amending the soil, that sort of thing. I would maybe build the structure, get a water system out to there if you're going to do irrigation, and maybe pour over some seed catalogs and figure out the best varieties that you want to grow.
Now, Gabe, I had a question. Figure a simple family of 4. How much or how many plants of, let's say you wanted to hit some basics, you wanted some broccoli, maybe you wanted some kale, you want some fruit trees as well. How many plants are you putting in the ground, in the ground of each to either provide you with enough but not too much?
Right. The trees, it's good to just, plant a few every year. Like Rex has just planted a handful every year, and you get up to kind of a certain level. So you don't plant too much at first. So I would say, start with plant 3 or 4 trees, and you try and stage stuff where you have kind of an early season, a mid-season and a late season, and you can pick that based on an early plum and a mid-season peach, and then you do a late apple, like a Fuji apple is a really late one, September, October. So you want to stage stuff so you do have a little bit longer harvest season.
Hey, Gabe,
yeah.
What's the, as we close here, again, Gabe Frank, Gardens by Gabriel, check him out, gardensbygabriel.com. What's the biggest blunder people make at this time of year in their gardens? Or maybe even so, what's the thing that's most misunderstood that allows for that blunder in the winter season?
Maybe not doing anything. Now is just the time to take action for bare root stuff, because you're not seeing anything immediately, but you're creating that whole future, your future palette at this point. So I think just taking action at this point, go to Farm Supply and Bay Laurel and all the places that have good stuff, and start to think where I could plant a bunch of blueberries or blackberries or some stone fruit. So I think, start planning now and buy a few trees.
Hey, always good stuff from you. Thanks for taking the time to join us tonight, Gabe. And we'll check back in with you, of course, in the spring, if not before.
All right, appreciate it.
All right. Good stuff always from Gabe. He's again, just such an incredible resource of knowledge and resource of, just getting good trees and things that produce.
Every time we talk to him, it's like, oh, you know what? I got to call him. I got to get him to come over and take a look at the house, tell me where to put what I've got, how to set it up. And then it's like, I leave here, I do exactly what I tell everybody else. Oh, you should never do. Don't let life get in the way of the... And I let life get in the way. I forget about it. I kind of put it on the shelf. I'm going to get to it. And my shelf of I'm going to get to it is like sagging low right now with things in the middle just ready to fall. It's ready to break. That's like that. That's the mental image I want to give you of my I'm gonna get to it shelf.
What goes on in your head?
A gerbil on a squeaky wheel.
Good stuff, guys. We got just a little bit more here tonight, followed by us, of course, the great CJ Silas show from 7 to 8 here on ESPN 1280 The Ticket, Slow Late Show 10 to 12. Did you have an objection?
No objection. I just wanted to point out that, as much as we're on here, we are starting to rub off. CJ brought in some incredible healthy muffins, tasty while they're at it. And, a lot of people could just say, you know what, forget it. I'm getting the Pillsbury mix, and I'm going to just mix it up real quick. CJ went the extra mile. And she figured out a recipe, got the healthy ingredients, and made a quite tasty little snack.
Yeah. What inspired? I mean, so Paul just gave us credit, by the way, for
Really? I heard that. I heard that.
But for inspiring you.
Yeah.
And he just
Gabe, living the run credit.
Yeah. So
fair.
living the run is inspiring. You
Guilty
know,
by
across the board,
association.
including the CJ Silas show
Totally.
coming up from 7 to 8. Hey, talk about what did inspire that. Those things did turn out great. First time through. Talk about the ingredients real quick and.
Well,
darn good effort.
I made some blondies recently with butterscotch chips, chocolate chips, coconut flour, coconut oil, eggs, and a little bit of amaranth with vanilla, and some maple syrup, and some pure cane sugar. And
Love the use of the amaranth, by the way.
I love the amaranth, and
Yeah.
it's so good for you.
So good.
And I decided I wanted something chocolate, more chocolate. And I have a cousin who lives out in Santa Maria who always makes me almond flour cookies that are just buttery and delicious because she uses kefir. Hello, awesome idea. So chocolate muffins with pure cocoa, eggs, maple syrup, kefir, almond flour, coconut oil. No frosting, but I felt because they were moist enough with the kefir that it didn't need frosting. But that might be my next thing I try to figure out is frosting. And yes, what would I do without the inspiration of living the run with Paul Tarek and Rex Stevens?
That's what I was trying to say.
Hey, you said it very, very well.
Well,
Thanks for the muffin, by the way.
You're welcome. You inspire me because what it does is listening to you makes me want to do new and different things because you do get caught in your own rut.
No question.
So there you have it.
Hey, good stuff.
But I could only do 90 burpees when I tried one day in 10 minutes. I needed like 6 more minutes to do the last 10.
Hey, and again, the goal was just hit 10 minutes. What can you do in 10? Improve from there.
Yeah.
You would get to 100, no problem.
By the way, we don't mind if we inspire you or if we just guilt you into it. Either
Okay.
way. It's good.
I'll bring you in all of my little attempts.
Your treats were good.
All of that to tell you guys, the CJ Silas show is next from 7 to 8 o'clock.
And we have Auburn running back Cameron Artis-Payne to talk about the national championship game on Monday.
Hey, good stuff. It was a good national championship game. Good way to go out. Terrible system. Glad they're getting rid of it, but at least they went out on a good note and happy stuff. More from us, Paul Tarek, Rex Stevens. We're going to talk little tips and takeaways as well as Paul will muster something else up for that last couple minutes. This is Living the Run. Stick with us.
You're listening to Living the Run on ESPN Radio 1280 The Ticket.
Hey guys, Paul Tarek from Living the Run here. As a former Olympian, there is only one place myself and fellow athletes go when it comes to chiropractic care on the Central Coast. With 4 chiropractors in the clinic, Slow Wellness Center is the largest, most comprehensive group of docs in San Luis Obispo County. I began seeing Dr. Rex Stevens back in 2005 for spinal adjustments to help maximize my performance, minimize my injury, and allow me to compete at my best. When the difference between a win and a loss can be just a fraction of an inch, perfect alignment in all joints is essential. One of the great things about the team at Slow Wellness is no matter where I had an issue, whether it was my spine, my foot, knee, wrist, or shoulder, they were always able to help. This team, made up of Dr. Rex and Molly Stevens, Dr. Sachs, and Dr. Bandolo, is sure to help you reach your health and fitness goals too. If it's chiropractic care you need, go where I go, Slow Wellness Center. Check them out at slowwellness.com or call 543-8688.
Hey everyone, Eric Fiallo here from LeftLaneSports.com. Are you tired of paying full retail on your favorite outdoor and endurance brands? Well, whether you run, bike, swim, hike, climb, or surf, LeftLaneSports.com has got you covered. Save 50 to 70% off retail every day on brands like Under Armour, Asics, New Balance, Timex, Hurley, Patagonia, and more. Visit LeftLaneSports.com and sign up for a free membership. Plus, save on shipping by picking up your order at our headquarters in San Luis Obispo. LeftLaneSports.com. Gear you need, prices you want, service you deserve.
This is Scott from Arch Cyclery. This year, Arch has the largest selection of kids' bikes on the Central Coast. Let us take the stress out of your holidays by offering a layaway and a convenient purchase bike storage solution, where we store the bike until Santa picks it up for the big day. Grown-ups, we have an awesome selection of bikes and accessories for you too. Come in now until December 24th and spin the wheel of deals and take up to 30% off your purchase. Huge selection, friendly staff, and low prices at Arch Cyclery, 181 Suburban Road, San Luis Obispo.
Hey everybody, Tara Kulikoff, San Luis Obispo resident, here to speak on behalf of Gardens by Gabriel and my experience. As a landscaper in the county, they are hands down my top pick. They're honest, knowledgeable, passionate, and detail-oriented. The owner, Gabriel Frank, is a true botanical zealot who adds his own creative ideas while respecting my needs and working with the ecosystem. His crew is phenomenal. They are so helpful and so hardworking. My front yard is absolutely perfect. So dig them at gardensbygabriel.com.
We're back with Living the Run.
Hey, good show tonight. I was going to say this, Paul. You know, we had a couple people bounce in studio. We had 3 phone calls. I didn't have any drops, no significant fumbles. This is
don't jinx it. We still have 5 minutes.
It's been good stuff. Max would be proud right now.
He would be. He would be, actually. We should probably call him right now, try to make an outgoing call, and shut the whole radio station down for 3 hours.
Hey, you were talking about something in the break. I thought that was real good, and you actually even mentioned it when you asked a question to Gabe about, how much is enough when I'm planting broccoli, when I'm planting fruit trees, etc. I kind of like the other philosophy that you actually, I don't know if you did this on purpose, but you brought up at the break, is to say, hey, I want to have enough abundance that, yes, my family can eat, but you know what? My kids' friends come over, neighbors walking by, what have you, that we're kind of supplying the whole area. We talk about that a lot in the idea of kind of collectivism, cooperation, and it's community, if you will. I'm jumping on the C word bandwagon, but the reality is that is what it is, and that's how I've always thought about putting in these fruit trees. That's why I got 5-6 pear trees put in, 5-6 apples, that eventually it becomes one of those things that we can all kind of share some resources together with good organic nutrients, and especially our kids, man, that's what they use for their sweet fix. The good mandarins that are on my tree right now, that are on yours, the oranges, the flame grapefruit, which is over the top right now. Good stuff. That's what you want your kids picking.
Yeah, I have vivid memories, and it was great. Michigan State, Michigan had great apple seasons, and Michigan State in the fall, the apple trees would start blooming, and there was a whole Grand River Avenue had tons of apple trees along. Just randomly, it wasn't like an orchard or anything, but they were randomly along the side of the street, and you could just, while you're waiting for the bus, walk over there, grab an apple off the tree, and sit. I mean, it was no pesticides, no sprays, no anythings. Maybe it had a little wormhole in it. It wasn't totally perfect, but man, they were the greatest tasting apples.
Hey, tips and takeaways from tonight's show.
I'm going to go back to Alex's statement of that being nervous, making a change while it may be nerve-wracking sometimes, or it may be you may be a little cautious about it. It's still a good thing. There's a level of excitement that should go along with that, and kind of seeing the big thing. A lot of people get too nervous to take that first step because they're just too afraid.
Yeah, no question. As we listen to some of these different people, experts like Gabe, Molly was talking about some of the cleanse things, etc. So much confusion in the nutrition world, especially. Made me think of a Mark Twain quote that said, "The problem with this life isn't what we don't know; it's the stuff we know for sure that just ain't so." And I think we get confused regularly. We're confident in what we're doing, but maybe we shouldn't be. Check us out. Check Molly out, Slow Wellness Center, 6:30 this Thursday night. Talk a little bit about cleanse, get a little educated on it. Thanks to my guest, Gabe from Gardens by Gabriel. Thanks to Alex. Thanks to Matt Smith. Thank you, Paul Tarek, for coming in. And I got to say thanks to those guys out there today, Sandy and Aram, for kicking my butt, as well as a newcomer, Chad. He listens to this show. He lives healthy. He lives bold. He comes every week to live the run.